Hi, I'm Claire O'Leary, and I am a Survivor's Healing Catalyst and Reiki Master. I'm here today to share a little bit about how and why becoming a healing catalyst came about and why it's so important to your healing journey as an incest survivor. I was writing some marketing copy for my healing business. This was quite a few years back. I'd left my job the year before, and frankly, business was struggling. So I was writing some marketing copy. And just as I get done writing, I get a flash of a little girl standing in the doorway. And tears are just streaming down her face. Now, I'd seen this little girl before. I'd seen her when I was working just before I left my job several times, but I chose to ignore her. I was a Reiki master. I knew it was time to deal with this. So I sat down with my journal in hand and started writing. I tuned in, really made sure I was grounded and really aware of what was going on. And as I'm writing, I can feel everything. I remember all the details. For the first time, I am now sure that yes, this was my uncle. Before that, I had a vague image of somebody, but I wasn't sure who. I felt everything, absolutely everything. I remember thinking, ew. And it was just, tears are just streaming down my face as I write. Writing is blurred in my journal. As I remember, as I'm standing in this doorway, my parents had said, "Don't go in the bedroom, you'll wake up your sister." They leave for just a few minutes, less than 10, maybe even 5 or less. And my uncle takes me by the hand into the bedroom, even though I say, "No, Mommy and Daddy said don't go in the bedroom." "Oh, it'll be okay," he says. "We'll be quiet." So he takes me in the bedroom and proceeds to molest me. Moments later, we hear the doorknob turn. He is out of there like a flash and standing in front of the kitchen sink by the time the door opens. I, on the other hand, have to put on my underwear. So as I come out, I know that I'm in trouble. My parents are sitting there at the kitchen table. They are furious. "We told you not to go in the bedroom." Tears are streaming down my face. By now I'm hiccuping. And I'm wondering, I was a bad girl. Will they still love me? I am getting in trouble for something my uncle did, and I wonder, why doesn't he say something? Well, of course he's not going to say something. But when you're 5 years old, you don't know that. What I realized by writing this and completely feeling it and really being there in the moment, and this didn't take more than 15 minutes, is that the decision I made in that moment was, in order to be loved, I had to be the good little girl. So I became the good little girl. Straight A student, never doing anything wrong. Oh, I got mad, okay. I'm a Taurus, so, did a lot of that when I was a teenager and even before. But I was the good little girl. I was the yes girl. I was whoever anybody wanted me to be in that moment so that I could be loved. And I have seen so many other women like myself who can't disagree for fear of not being loved, who can't say what they mean, who feel like they have no voice. It's stuck, completely stuck in their throat because they just can't disagree. The really great thing about going back to this for me is that I realized that for 55 years, I have been operating from the perspective of a 5-year-old who just wanted to be loved. And the good news was, I no longer needed to operate from that. No, my life didn't change in 30 seconds, but I felt like this weight was completely lifted off my shoulders. And it was the most amazing feeling. I felt like I really needed to share this with you, with other survivors. I became a survivor's catalyst, a healing catalyst, and started doing workshops. And I didn't really claim incest survivors as my audience, but every time I did a workshop, there were 2, there were 3, there were more. And every time I did one, more and more incest survivors and sexual assault survivors would be in my class. Until finally, it was 100%. Every single person in my workshop was a survivor. They'd come to me because I had finally learned how to heal. And I use all of the things that I learned to heal to help them through the anger, through the pain, the shame, the blame, the self-blame, to really help them move through all that, to become more, to reclaim their voice, to be self-empowered, and to be able to have those really close connections with people that they have craved all their life. To feel seen and heard, to be seen and heard. And that is why I do what I do. As I worked with women and continued on my own healing path, I discovered that there was actually a blueprint to what I had completed. And I didn't realize that until I started looking back. So what I discovered is that there are 5 pillars of emotional healing. And those pillars are the foundation of the blueprint, the map, the roadmap, maybe, to the healing journey, the emotional healing journey of an incest survivor. There are so many wounds that we have because of that, and some of them we don't even realize that's where they come from. The first one, I realized the first pillar that I did for myself was to open my heart to self-love. Quit beating myself up, not being good enough, not being enough. That was the first step for me, and I help women to move through that using some of the exercises that I learned and that I did to help me through. The second one is related to the first one. I had to discover who I really was. I did a lot of soul searching to discover what I truly believed in, to really discover my own inner truth before I could truly heal, before I could even love myself 100%. But I did. And yes, it was a lot of work, totally worthwhile. The third, and maybe for me the most important, and I think I'm still working on this one, was to reclaim my voice. I said earlier that it was difficult for me. It was difficult for me to speak my truth. It was difficult for me to share my inner thoughts and desires. I thought I'd be laughed at. I couldn't disagree with somebody because, gosh, they might actually leave me. I might be alone. This was really huge for me. But I have finally reclaimed my voice. And I help women like you to do the same. Once I was able to reclaim my voice, I went deeper and deeper inside to really learn my inner wisdom. It's a spiritual path. It's really learning who you are and learning to listen to your deep wisdom. Once you really are there, you can unleash that wisdom on the world, which is what I'm doing now with my programs and my workshops. I work with you doing some of the processes that I learned so that you can do the same. And finally, What I realized after doing all this work is what I've been seeking all of this time was passionate connection. And all of these steps that I have taken, all of the work that I have done on my own healing journey have led me to passionate connection. Passionate connection with family, with friends, with business associates. But honestly, it's passionate connection with myself. Truly and honestly, being able to connect, being able to love myself, to speak the way I want to speak, and to be the woman I came on earth to become. I would never be doing the kind of work I'm doing if I hadn't gone through not only this incest, but another as a teenager. Am I angry? You bet I am. But I've forgiven for the most part. And I have to say that I am a better woman because of it. And the best part is I can also help you because I've been through it. I've created a roadmap. It's easy to follow. It includes the 5 pillars. And I'd like to share that with you. So if you want to click on the link below, you'll get a roadmap and a brief description of the 5 pillars of emotional healing. If those appeal to you, then I invite you to have a conversation with me. It can be 5 minutes, it can be 15 minutes, it can be 45 minutes. Whatever you need to discover your healing path. I am truly dedicated to helping women like yourself move through the anger and the pain to become their true selves and follow the path they really were meant to follow in this lifetime. I share more in-depth information about the 5 pillars to emotional healing and why they're so important to your healing, why they were so important to mine. I hope you download the information and find it truly helpful. And I hope that you'll join me on your healing path.